Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager, who's looking suave as always. The Red Raiders take on the Horned Frogs in Fort Worth, 2:30 p.m. Central Time Saturday, and that game will be televised on Fox. But, we stated before in the preview, this game appears, at least on paper, to set the table for the rest of the season. At least that was my point. But you also made the point, Mighty Joe, that it could set the table for how the defense performs for the rest of the season. So maybe it's semantics and we're getting to the same point.
Right.
But it's a huge game on paper for a number of reasons, including the in-state rivalry and all that and the recruiting battle you have with them. But I think, speaking of defense, my first key in terms of our three keys for the game will have to be generating a pass rush, which has been almost non-existent. I even asked McGuire about it during the Monday presser previewing this game and said, there hasn't been very much pass rush, or there wasn't very much pass rush against Baylor. He said none. They didn't get a sack or not even a tackle for loss. You're not going to win doing that. I mean, you got to have those negative plays. You got to generate those negative plays. You got to generate those turnovers. And I think while Texas Tech hadn't done really a good job for most of the season of applying pressure on opposing quarterbacks and affecting them, they have generated turnovers almost exclusively through pressure, which is generally how that happens in a lot of times with their inside linebackers. So I feel like we'll see a different scheme. I don't think we'll see that three-man rush, Mighty Joe, that we saw for so much of the Baylor game. I think
brings a tear to my
eye. I know. I think we'll see. I'm not saying we won't see odd fronts or a 3-3-5 and all that, but I think they'll have more guys actually on the line of scrimmage, whether they're standing up, hand on the ground, whatever, at least trying to affect Hoover, TCU's quarterback. And I think whether they accomplish that or not is a huge key in the game.
Yeah, no question about it. And you briefly mentioned turnovers.
Yeah,
your little disquisition there.
Just my little disquisition.
It's a very nice disquisition.
There, thank you. That's better. I like
that. And speaking of which, TCU fumbles the ball a lot.
Okay.
They have 14 fumbles coming into this game, and they lost 9 of them.
Okay.
And so they've got some issues in terms of ball security there.
Yeah.
Tim DeRuyter and those guys, they're aware of that.
Yeah.
So I think there really could be a focus of punching that ball loose, and really ripping at it and trying to generate some of those turnovers, fumbles. As always, turnovers are massive in any game. Give your offense an opportunity to score, hopefully in plus position, plus territory. I think that's just a little sort of thing to look at in this game and see if Tech can poke the ball loose a little bit.
Yeah, going off your little message there, your nice key, very well said. Basically talking complimentary football. That defense has got to help in terms of getting turnovers, putting the offense in better positions, stuff like that. Especially better than what we saw against Baylor. Special teams has been such a huge part of Texas Tech's 5-2 record, of winning those, having a good record, a winning record in conference, all that. And they let you down mightily, Mighty Joe, against Baylor. And so I think, just like we said in the preview, I think, hopefully that's an anomaly. I think that's going to be a huge key. Texas Tech, generally, not always, but as one on offense, they put a pretty good amount of points, yards, all that, especially running everything through Taj. The defense has had its struggles, but have come up with turnovers, which is always a key. But special teams has been something they've been able to rely on to be a huge plus all season, and they need that to come up big in Fort Worth on Saturday, my Joe.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Specifically, in terms of special teams, TCU has been really, really good in kickoff coverage.
Okay.
All right. So warning signs, right?
Yeah.
They're allowing 14.5 yards kickoff return. Now, what did we see from Dre McCray recently?
I mean, terribleness. Yeah.
The squib kick was just a complete like Three Stooges. Yeah. It really did. It really did. With Dre, unfortunately, playing all 3 parts.
Yeah.
But not only that, decisions to return the football, even if it's 5 yards deep in the end zone, and that seems to never work out.
No.
Now, I don't know if he's just been given the complete green light to run it back whenever he wants, but that's something, if that's the case, needs to be rethought, because I don't think you're going to want to do that against this TCU kickoff return team, regardless of however you handle it. If you just tell them, okay, fair catch, or down it in the end zone, whatever, put somebody else back there, I don't care, but you can't have yourself starting at the 10, 15-yard line on a regular basis,
Yeah.
Let alone turning the ball over.
Big time. And Dre may not even play Saturday. He was listed on the questionable list for a head injury. So we'll have to see. And hopefully somebody doesn't try and do hero ball. So like, here's my chance. Dre's out this week. He might be back next week, you know. So, but I do think, like, just make the ordinary play. That's another part of the winning streak, was guys weren't trying to do too much. They were doing their own jobs. They need to get back to that. So those are our 3 keys. Mike, Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.